A teacher affects eternity. No one knows where his or her influence ends. The influence is very often life-altering and in most cases awe-inspiring. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and for a young boy or girl, it is the first step that he or she makes when they enter the portals of their school. He meets his classmates, his teachers, and a whole host of new faces. Very intimidating. Then, he slowly warms up to some or all of his classmates, of course, guided and channeled by his kindergarten teacher. Here is the story of a little boy. His name is William. Like all young children, he is the typical whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail, unwilling to school. His teacher receives him with the usual warmth and care. She soon notices that this is a very shy and quiet boy. He does not mingle. He keeps to himself. Nothing influences him or touches him. He does not play with his classmates. He has not made friends. He is a loner. The teacher notices all this. She tries her best to draw him in. She makes attempts after attempts to get him involved in classroom activities. She calls to William and encourages him to join his group in the group activity. As a shy and quiet boy for whom obedience is deeply ingrained, he quickly gets up from his place and joins the others. But the teacher could see that he was not into it. The teacher then took it upon herself to bring this boy out of his shell. She observed him while he was in the play field. There too, he was the timid fourth grader. He was desperately trying to go unnoticed. He just wanted out. Once again, she made attempts to encourage him to play. Her kind encouragements were met with the usual obedience and the even more usual uninvolvement. One striking aspect about William that stood out was his love for reading. The quintessential teacher immediately identified this, so she decided to channelize all his energy towards reading. She would seek him out, talk to him about his fascination for reading, his love for exploration, and his ability to enjoy new styles in reading. She went out of her way to source books for him. She understood that the boy was awkward in company and that he loved to bury himself in his books. So be it. She let him be whatever he wanted to be. Here was a teacher who did not believe in stereotype. She helped him escape his shell in the true spirit of an exceptional teacher. She helped him explore his passion for reading through use of introspective questions and sourced him books that were progressively more interesting and challenging. She would sit down with him and ask him what he liked, what he had read, and more importantly, what he had learned and why. She genuinely listened to what William had to say. This teacher left an indelible impact on him. The mark was too strong to be brushed off as non-consequential. A decade later, as a teenager, he was still the shy, timid introvert. That did not change. But what changed in him was his attitude. Thanks to his persevering teacher, he no longer felt the need to hide his awkwardness. He realized that each one was gifted and that each had their own strength and weakness. Therefore, while he was with his peers in the playfield, in the pub, or on the streets, he tackled the sneers, the bullying, and even attempts at domination in a way that was taught to him by his fourth grade teacher. She told him to stand his ground. She also told him that he need not follow a path if he didn't want to. He could always make a path and be a trailblazer. Years later, this little boy became a path breaker, for he was able to come into his own in a way that would one day change the world forever. In the year 2006, shortly after reaching her 100th birthday, the teacher sadly passed away, but not before William was able to thank her personally for the lasting influence she had on him. Now, who is this William? The full name of the William in the story is William Henry Gates, popularly known as Bill Gates, software developer, investor, philanthropist, and not to forget, co-founder of Microsoft Corporation. And his fourth grade teacher was Blanche Keffer, the teacher who changed his life. History is replete with examples of inspiring teachers who had an impact on world statesmen and leaders during their formative years. There is an Aristotle for every Alexander the Great, a Chanakya for every Chandragupta Maurya, a Gopal Krishna Gokhale for every Mahatma Gandhi, a Miss Devon for every Oprah Winfrey, a Miss Mabel Hefty for every Barack Obama, and a Ramakant Achrekar for every Sachin Tendulkar. The list is endless.